Hey everybody, how are you all doing? Today I want to do something hopefully fun, which is a movie review of the new Beauty and the Beast movie, which came out a few days ago. It has gotten quite some criticism for being another social justice warrior campaign promoting multiculturalism, homosexuality, and feminism. So I saw the movie last night and I wrote my observations down, which I'll be sharing with you in a list format. There's also two excellent reviews that I'm going to link to you in the description. One is by Stefan Molyneux, the other is by Steven Crowder, and I'm not going to say the same things that they have already talked about, but I'm going to list my own criticisms. So here we go. Okay, number one, pushing of multiculturalism and race mixing. A surprisingly large portion of the cast is Black and there are biracial couples. I'm not surprised by this. After all, this is a mainstream movie, and the only things I want to point out about this is the hypocrisy that whenever a white actor plays the role of an anime character or a historical figure that could be considered a minority, the media screeches about whitewashing. It's like Scarlett Johansson is set to play Ghost in the Shell right now, but no, we can't let her do that because that's whitewashing and demeaning other cultures. But it's completely fine to have Blacks strewn about pre-revolutionary French villages and randomly in aristocratic courts. And the main problem isn't just that they are there, it's that in the movie their roles are always irrationally perfect. They are the wisest, the most talented, the most courteous, understanding characters in the movie every time. It's kind of insulting actually. It's like the movie casters were thinking, oh, you know, we better not give the Black characters any faults because then they might accuse us of being racists. I mean, take a look at the Black village librarian, for instance. Yeah, he's a tall, fit Black man, very well educated, very eloquent speaker, and he's the only one in the entire village aside from Belle's father who understands her. And then immediately after they say goodbye, you know, we get the scene in the song with those sneering white guys, like white peasants with their arms crossed, going like, "Look, there she goes, the girl is so peculiar." And then only the white people are viewed as nasty, boorish, and oppressive. There's a scene where an older man snaps at Belle because she's teaching a younger girl to read a book. And he's like, "Oh, well, what on earth are you doing teaching another girl to read? Isn't one enough?" And I know that was a terrible, terrible impression, but... And then towards the end of the movie, when Belle's father is being dragged off to an asylum, the lone voice of sanity in an entire mob of people holding pitchforks and torches is like one lone Black guy in a wig shouting, "No, he needs a hospital, not an asylum." Once again, it's the obvious hypocrisy of the social justice warriors that bothers me here. Either you guys accept that actors can play whatever role they want, in which case whitewashing is completely retarded and should stop immediately, or let's be historically accurate and kick out all of the Blacks in this movie. Come on, all I ask for is a little consistency in your madness. Number two, the prominent homosexual agenda. This is the complaint that I have read about the most in other reviews, and yes, it is quite bad, I can confirm. The character of LeFou is indisputably gay in this movie. Whereas in the original animated film, he was a silly guy, a little crazy homeboy who looked up to Gaston as an alpha male. And it was very unpleasant watching the homosexual tension in this movie, seeing LeFou's obvious angst and distress and unrequited love. The movie took on a darker tone because of this, because of his completely changed character. Also, in the final battle scene, LeFou changes sides. He decides to fight along with Belle and the talking furniture. After saying about Gaston with a very gay flourish, he goes, "Oh, we are so in a bad place right now." And then at the very end, LeFou is dancing in the end ball when a guy comes in and starts dancing with him, and then they stare at each other in sort of like this lustful shock, you know. Ugh. Also, there's another gay scene in the movie, also in the battle at the castle, and there's a talking wardrobe who tries to stop three guys with swords who are walking up the stairs. And, you know, the wardrobe, it opens its doors and it starts attacking the guys. It wraps them in ribbon and it stuffs them into women's clothes. It puts on a wig and it puts makeup on them. And then two of the men, you know, they run the hell away screaming. But the third guy, he just sort of looks up at the wardrobe with this crazy smile on his face. He's like, you know, and then he turns around and he walks down the stairs with like this weird gay prance. Oh my God. So if I was a parent and I was watching this movie with a young son, I would be worried about the homosexuality in this movie, about the dude clearly having the time of his life, like he's just had a sex change operation that he's been waiting years for after a wardrobe puts him into women's clothes. Number three, the beast turns into a cuck, unfortunately. The thing that always attracted me to the Beast is how he went through significant character development, and for this reason he's always been my favorite Disney prince. And I think many of us can relate to his kind of spiritual struggle or quest for enlightenment, and a hope that others can accept him despite his past mistakes and faults. So yes, the Beast's struggle is a righteous struggle. And in the beginning, you know, he was a hedonist, a nihilist. He treated others like garbage. And before he was cursed in this movie, there is a scene where he's at his castle and there's a ball and he's decked out in all kinds of jewels and refinery. And there's about 100 women just dancing for him. You know, it's kind of a freaky scene, and I think it depicts his really degenerate personality quite well. Yeah, and then he had to go through a godly test and then reevaluate everything about himself. I think that's great material. However, the movie focused instead on breaking the beast, on turning him into a cuck, basically. At the end of the movie, the only reason Beast wanted to live was so that he could see Belle one last time. He wouldn't have lived otherwise. He would have just died, like rolled over. Belle was in complete control of the relationship. She could do whatever she wanted. She was in a completely dominant position. So this is not very romantic to me, and here I want to say that women are often fed this passionate romantic relationship idea as being an ideal, as something that you have to expect or achieve in a relationship. You have to go out and mentally break the other person, learn all their secrets, and feel like you're dominating them. I know that all relationships have their unique balance between male and female, but realistic, long-lasting relationships are much more like a partnership, like conscious teamwork, built on respect and trust and communication. Not like, you know, one person is in complete control and the other person just does whatever they tell them to, like a slave. Doesn't really work that way, and yet this is definitely what women are being told is romantic. So the relationship between Belle and Beast did have a good spot, but then it went overboard rather quickly. As the Beast changed, he let Belle go back to her village to see her father, and that was a very selfless thing to do. That is good, to care for the well-being of another person, even though it hurts you emotionally. to love someone as a part of creation, to not want to, possess them selfishly at all costs, or idolize the other person, or fawn over everything that they do, to be able to say goodbye. I think that was perfect. All in all, I have to say that I do love, traditionally, in the old movie, I love the romance between the two characters, but here they push the female domination part a little too strongly. So yes, that's basically all that hasn't been said in other reviews. My favorite part of the movie, in which I actually laughed out loud, was when Belle and the Beast were walking outside in his garden and it was snowing, and Belle, she sneaked up on the Beast, she threw a snowball at the back of his head, and then he countered with this like massive snowball, and he like hurled it at her, and it hit her right in the face and she fell back on her butt. And that was really funny, and the Beast, he just laughed at her. He had like a really honest laugh, and that was a great scene because it was a good depiction of the natural, kind of harmless teasing that couples do, and I personally love. So yeah, that's Beauty and the Cuck. And aside from making 30% of the cast minorities or gays, or picking up the feminist Emma Watson in the leading role, I did not see much point in this remake. I mean, watch it if you're bored, I would say. For now, let me know what you thought about this movie, about this review, about your opinion on relationships, what's good, what's bad, in the description. And yeah, that's it for today, guys. I'll see you all soon. Bye bye.